once again, my chickadees. Game & Chick is back once again with another review. Before we get started, I'd like to give a big thank you to the folks over at Capcom for providing me with a review copy to make this review possible. Thank you very much. So now with that having been said, let's go! Street Fighter 6 is the latest entry into this legendary fighting series and is developed and published by Capcom. Coming off of the lukewarm received Street Fighter V, Capcom felt that it was time to modernize the series and try to give it the shakeup that it needs. But was this shakeup beneficial to the series, or does it hurt you more than seeing Jackie Chan in a Chun-Li dress? Only one way to find out, so let's kick it into action! Story. Fist go pow, kicks go plank, bodies go ouch. Gameplay. Street Fighter 6 is one of those glow-up type of moments, especially when getting pitted against the previous entry into the series, Street Fighter V, which received mixed reactions from both hardcore fans and casual fans alike. However, here with Street Fighter 6, some restructuring of the game's art style, roster, features, and gameplay mechanics have been tweaked quite a bit, especially with an implementation of a modern control scheme, which makes it easier for even non-competitive fighting game players to just sink their teeth into the juggernaut known as Street Fighter. It's like being on a diet for a month and then passing by a burger joint and being like, oh man, I'm hungry as all sin. And then taking a bite, your body goes into shock, you pass out, have a heart attack, wake up in the hospital, and think, damn, that was a good burger. Yeah! This is similar to how it feels going from Street Fighter V to Street Fighter 6, only without the added drama. With a rounded cast of 18 characters featuring both new entrants and old classic characters, intriguing battle hub that lets you run around like a little freak of nature, spinning bird kicking your heart out, and a world tour campaign mode, Street Fighter 6 aims to keep players occupied for a long time. But being occupied with content doesn't necessarily mean everything about the game is good, sadly. As like all other forms of media and entertainment, for every one good thing, a bad thing must follow. Yes, just like someone with IBS eating a super good greasy pizza. Oh man, it's so good, but 20 minutes later, your new home will be the bathroom. Oops. As time has went on for the Street Fighter series, mostly starting at Street Fighter 2 with its mandatory 500 different versions of the game, you have seen the series evolve via its graphics or with the way it runs on each system it's on per generation, upgrading and introducing new gameplay mechanics that are unique to the title itself, or attempts to push the series forward, for better or for worse. Please no more indestructible theme music, I beg you. It's up there with my second most hated video game theme song, right next to My Hands from Final Fantasy XIII. Seriously. I wake in the morning, putting on my makeup. What in the living chocobo does that have to do with Final Fantasy? But enough of that. Back to what I was talking about. As I was saying, with each iteration comes an evolution or addition to the series, with parries for Street Fighter 3 Ultra Omega Classic Turbo Arcade EX5 Hyperspeed Edition being introduced. Focus-based attacks for Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 with V-System, and now with Street Fighter 6, it evolves once more with the Drive System. What's that? Are you sure you want to know? The story of my life. Okay, no, I'm not finding a way to throw in another Spider-Man 2 reference for the 100th time in my reviews. In a nutshell, the drive system utilizes multiple abilities by characters that are being controlled by your drive gauge, and these include abilities such as drive impact, drive reversals, parrying, and rushing. It takes an already competitive level of competition to a new level, as now you have to account for your opponent's drive gauge limits too, so you do not rush into an incoming infinite loop of an ass-kicking like I've made the mistake of doing because I'm such a noob. Your strategy in trying to outwit your opponent in Street Fighter 6 begins immediately upon match start due to your drive meter starting at full capacity. This allows you to pick and choose if you want to be more defensive and then counter into a drive set move, or waste them all immediately to try and get in surprise damage and then tucking your overdrive special moves in your pocket for later in order to deal extra damage for your combos by getting timing right, landing a drive rush cancel, and proceeding into a multi-combo drive attack to put your foe on the ropes, etc. Choice is completely up to you and your own playstyle, regardless of your favorite character. Beware, however, should your meter become depleted, you will enter a state of fatigue or burnout. This stops you from blocking efficiently, and your enemy's attacks will become stronger due to your weakened state. If this happens to you, retire, give up, and go home and be a family man, because your chances of winning and mounting a heroic combat just got slashed in half. I mean, you might be able to throw a Hail Hadouken and move, dodge, attack, and use special moves to get away from your opponent in an intense survival for your life, but just give it up, bro. Give it up, man. Like your button on your pants being strung together by a piece of string because you gained 20 pounds over summer break by visiting grandma's house just like Doug Funny did. Just tear the button off, free the belly, and let it go. Fatigue of the meter aside, making use of at least one bar of your drive meter can also give you a higher advantage in combat versus NPCs, or even regular squishy humans, as well as your drive impact as a form of super armor that can allow you to take on up to 2 major hits and offsetting the damage, should it land, and those kids pushed aside like a kid that's in front of you at the ride at Disneyland you want to go on, which I'm speaking from experience in that department. Again, should this connect, it will temporarily stun your opponent, leaving them vulnerable to a major combo on your behalf. Yes, even if they block, they're screwed. The best way to use this mechanic from what I've noticed is blocking, drive impact, stunning, and backing them into a wall and making it extremely difficult for any counters to be shot back at you. Close or even mid-range, it locks it down. While it doesn't do as much damage as your normal stronger attacks do, it can definitely get you out of a tight spot should you be in a pickle, and goes from strictly an offensive capability to defensive as well. It's very driverse. Okay, yeah, that pun was bad, but you can appreciate it somewhat, right? I'm sure you can. Alright, I swear that's my last one. Once more, with a roster of 18 characters, with 12 of those being return characters, it offers you enough with the new and old to make it feel like a nostalgic experience, but at the same time, makes it feel like the new generation of fighters is right around the corner, waiting for their time to shine. With characters like Kimberly having a super fluid and ninja-like inspired moveset, and Jamie who uses a brawling fighting style that makes him an overall powerhouse of a menace. But yeah, that's only the fighting for online and Battle Hub and the mechanics that go along with that. I mean, sure, Battle Hub is great. One big, large arcade room where you can meet players, play some arcades, challenge for casual or ranked matches, or buy merch that you'll never use just because it looks cool. That's all good and all, but now we've come to my favorite part of this game, World Tour, Street Fighter 6's ambitious solo player experience. That's right, campaign mode, baby! In this mode, you focus on creating your own custom character and dive into the Street Fighter universe. That's pretty literal, to be honest, because you can legit run through semi-open cities, towns, locations like France and the UK, and run into people named Mario and be like, "It's-a me, Mario!" and then kick his ass just for having the audacity to be in your presence. Moving through this roughly 15 to 20 hour storyline, 25 hours if you're like me, a person who gets stuck on specific boss battles during the game and feels the need to run through areas, buy EXP boosts, travel to another area to fight high-level enemies, and then repeat that strat for like 7 straight hours and grind out battles like it's a traditional RPG. Yep, I have no life. And I'm not a man, so I can't go home and be a family man even if I wanted to. So I might as well just spend all my time in this game, right?
Of course!
Anyways, as you move through this story, you will interact with characters from the main roster of old, such as Chun-Li, Ken, Ryu, Cammy, Blanca, and many others, and you are able to take on personal training from them either by completing side quests for them, missions, or giving them gifts to increase your character's bond and relationship. Once at a high enough level, they will teach you their special moves that you're able to add to your own character's moveset after making them your master. Yes, this in fact means you can have multiple masters, dozens of unique attacks to equip, and have an extremely diverse level of freedom for combat. For example, I currently have a moveset that consists of attacks like Spinning Bird Kick from Chun-Li, and Hadouken from Ken and Ryu, and Spinning Rush from Blanca. There's simply no end to the type of combinations you can make, and honestly, this reminds me quite a bit of titles like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, as in that game, you're able to do the same. You train with a master, acquire their skills, and then equip them, and it works out perfectly here in Street Fighter 6 too. Plus, the game also sort of feels like Jump Force. Wait, where are you going? No, it's not that bad! I'm talking about as far as running around in traversal is concerned, you big silly. Not gameplay. Being able to run around New York City that is run by Mike Hager, you will run into NPCs you can challenge, all ranging from low levels to higher levels in order to gain items and experience points, and even fight against. Wait, is that NPC named Amy? How dare you? How dare you? I'll kill you! Die! Huh? Anyways, moving on. Fighting isn't the only thing to do in your World Tour, however. Besides your interactions and mastering moves of masters, you may get your RPG on by raising your character's level to boost stats on your skill tree, raise the level of your master for more unique attacks, equip stat-altering gear, acquire new powerful skills, do plethora of side quests that serve as both ways to get rare items and train, learn the difficulty, manage inventory for health and defensive level items to use to gain advantage in battles, and even... Huh? Steve? Is that you, Steve? You may not be Minecraft Steve, but you have his name, so you too shall feel my wrath!
Previously on Lost.
Steve? What the heck? You're
What?
breaking through my introduction logo!
Wait, this
Look
isn't
what you
right.
did!
You got a nice floor.
Steve! Steve! What the heck? I said I was sorry! Look what you did again! Sidetracked again with kicking someone's butt, I apologize. On topic, however, while World Tour has a ton of potential with allowing you to travel to different locations within the Street Fighter universe like the arcade games, see missions like New Kids on the Block, and immediately start going, "Please don't go, girl," and head back to the 80s. Climb a random building and see some dude named the Watcher that looks like a generic superhero. Bond with your waifu Chun-Li by showering her with gifts like me. Get a silly costume from Blanca and wear it 90% of your playthrough and completely ruin all serious moments in the story campaign. Even though all that is great, it does suffer from a somewhat lackluster narrative overall. With lots of predictable story beats, plot twists, insipid characters, it sort of feels like you just move from one event to another with no real thought put into it, and the more interesting aspects are outside of the story via free roam experience. It's pretty weird. For example, in one particular incident, you must travel to Rome to create a counterfeit bag to replace one that your stupid idiot friend has stolen, which leads nowhere. And another has you going to Brazil to buy your mentor Luke a couple of souvenirs. Yup, that's the entire mission. Bro, it's the modern era. You literally text me on a smartphone. I'm pretty sure your jock self can use eBay to find something you want, you idiot. While that sounds like a bummer, which it is, it's not all bad because the story does offer moments of both seriousness and lighthearted tones that is both beneficial and fitting for the values of what Street Fighter aims to be. Just traversing around cities and towns is goofy enough as it is, with using your abilities like spinning bird kick to cross over pits or obstacles, fighting against Roombas, and fridges, which just makes you think, okay, what type of object is gonna come alive and fight me next? The talking toilet from Look Who's Talking? Dumb, yes, but it offers a reasonable amount of charm and its own difficulties. I'm serious, the fridges whipped my ass, because I couldn't figure out if they were against blocking high or low attacks, so I just spammed my special moves and hoped for the damn best. Being able to step outside of combat is also a strength of this mode by engaging in side adventures like minigames that cleverly disguise actual fight techniques as challenges. For example, you have chopping bottles in a style reminiscent of Guile and Blanca's special moves, making pizza by executing special move inputs, throwback to Street Fighter 2's car-busting minigame that requires using combos to demolish cars within a time limit. They are extremely fun and engaging and make up for any downtime you may have in World Tour overall. As stated before, even during World Tour, a big draw for this is to outfit your character with moves from other fighters, so by the time you reach the in-story boss, you will have attacks that are able to defeat them in a fairly easy fashion, by being able to teleport like Dalism, pile drive grapple like Zangief, Kin's Dragon Lash, etc. As Shia once said, "Nothing is impossible!" And he was absolutely 100% correct. Good old Shia. He believed in us when no one else would, just like Tom. Right, Tom? With all of the skills and power you've leveled up during World Tour, you may transfer all of that over to the online setting in Battle Hub, which is an online social space that allows you to queue for both ranked and unranked matchmaking. It's basically PlayStation Home without the cringe and just keeping the awesome. But it's not all sonic booms and big cami booty attacks, sadly, because I have some gripes to go along with my praises, obviously. While they aren't major, they do hinder or annoy me, and they all pretty much pertain to World Tour. My biggest gripe is the difficulty spike mid-game. It's manageable just fine for the most part, even for a noob like me, but come mid-game, it goes from a normal setting to hard mode that has one simple grapple move take 50% of your health. Yes, even as a level 50 with defensive gear on. It becomes so bad that in 2 to 3 major grapples or hits, you're dead. And this forces to have to back out of fights or tournaments you were in, to spend hours grinding, thus making you have to redo the tournament all over again from the start. Another issue I have is the pacing of the story mode. It once again has the bane of my existence, padding. The first part of the story flows well with you working with Luke and your friend Bosch, meeting Chun-Li, but then it has you run around from one area, go to sleep till the next day, run to another area, fight one guy, go back to the city area to sleep to a change day cycle, come back to the area you were in earlier, fight one more person, or buy one item and repeat. It gets so freaking annoying. Overall, at the end of the day, Street Fighter 6 is probably my most favorite entry into this franchise since Street Fighter 2. Yes, it's not perfect due to some less than stellar servers that constantly boot you from the game during your time spent in the Battle Hub, brash difficulty spikes in World Tour, and its use of really bad padding. Those for sure are major annoyances, but those aside, with the game offering you a story campaign to allow people who aren't only competitive players to ease their way into the franchise, fun locations to explore and discover, get trained by your favorite Street Fighter character utilizing the moves of your favorite character and making them your own, collecting all gear and stat upgrades, complete all major and minor side quests, and even down to the awesome community that currently exists in the online Battle Hub with all of the other Street Fighter enthusiasts. With all of those positives, it leaves you with over 20 hours of story gameplay and dozens upon dozens more for years to come by facing your friends or strangers online in battles of who's the best around, which is saying something. So with all this having been said, my verdict is clear. Game and Chick says bye now.